Jeannie is packing up to leave right behind me. She's going home, but you guys are about to see, I'm guessing, probably just a very small amount of the very last CD collection video that I'm doing for you. Oh, actually, before I get to the jazz and the blues part. But, thanks for shooting that, Jeannie.
No problem.
Yeah, this is really long because there's a lot of stuff in my music collection and I can't just go, look, there are my CDs. I actually have to talk about it, so, you know, if you've set aside 30 minutes or so, I hope you enjoy the video, or I hope you enjoy whatever part of it that you happen to watch. Buddy, did you enjoy it or were you bored? Oh, well, that yawn should tell you something. Hello, everybody. Well, this is the last of the 5 videos that cover the main portion of my CD collection. So thanks for watching these things. I want you guys to know that, you know, I have about 55,000 subscribers on my second channel. These CD collection videos get about 4,000 views. So there's just a small portion of you guys that actually like hanging out and hearing about music and talking about music. This is the last one. I'm going to cover 3 rows. This is going to be a little bit longer. Everybody say hi to Jeannie. She's joining us one last time.
Hey, YouTube.
We're going to... Oh, you know what? I have a few CDs to give away because you guys are awesome. First of all, there's some music for all of you. I think I mentioned last time. Didn't I talk about Jane Siberry? This is actually one of my favorite albums by Jane Siberry, and it's her 3rd album. She's a Canadian singer-songwriter. If you like Kate Bush, maybe Lena Lovitch, if you like that sort of thing, you might like Jane Siberry. She's certainly not for everybody, but I love this album, No Borders here. It's funny and it's interesting, and it's a little dated. It sounds kind of 80s because it is from the 80s. It's from 84. But anyway, Jane Siberry on her website is giving away all of her albums. They're all free downloads now, so you can download her entire, like, 12 or 15 albums if you want. I'd recommend starting here. No Borders here. The link is in the description. In fact, I'm going to put a whole bunch of links in the description for you guys. And I picked out a few CDs that I had extras of that I was going to give away. If you guys want these, if you know these artists and you want one of these, then pick one that's you know, sounds like the best to you, and let me know that you want, you know, let me know which one you want, and I'll just pick 3 at random pretty much from people who like either Freddie Johnston. This is a little 4-song disc that has an exclusive mix, and it's got this exclusive song that's nowhere else, and this is a little Freddie Johnston CD single. This is a Squeeze album from the 80s that I really like. Love the band Squeeze. We're about to get to them. Babylon and On, that's the Squeeze album. And here's an autographed copy of Brendan Benson's 1st or 2nd album. It's called One Mississippi. And, oh, Buddy's itchy. Get that. Good boy. Hi. Oh, you're smelling the CD? It doesn't really smell like anything. You can lay on it. So if you chose the Squeeze or the Freddie Johnson CD, Buddy has laid on it. In fact, here, just to make this one better, I'm going to... Here, Buddy, lift your head for just a second. There we go. There you go. All right, there. So Buddy has laid on all of those CDs. You can get those. Oh, and lastly, I want to thank you guys for your recommendations. I'm still going through that last video that I put up, but I've been listening to just about everything that you guys have recommended if I hadn't heard of it. And here are 5 bands that I'd never heard of, and I really like them. And I'm sorry, I forget who recommended these, but offhand, I love Little Dragon, The 2 Minute Miracles, Wood Pigeon, Deer Hunter, and Backyard Tire Fire. Really good stuff. Really, really fun stuff. And I've been listening, actually, over and over to an album that I bought over at Amazon, Joe Rossetti's album, Romantic Shark Attack. I really enjoyed that. It's just really unusual and fun. And oh, good boy. Is that comfortable? Do you want me to move those CDs? Here. There you go. There you go. I'll leave these aside for you guys.
Is it the Deer Hunter one word or the Deer Hunter?
Deer Hunter is, I believe it's one word. Deer Hunter.
There's 2 bands.
There were 2 bands that people recommended that I liked, and both of them started with Deer. I forget the other one offhand. So, starting on this 3rd row, boy, I've wasted enough time. How much time have I wasted already?
4 minutes.
This is a long video. I don't care. This is going to be my longest video ever, I think, right here. I don't really care. And if you guys, if it's too long for you, you can turn it off at any time. You can turn it off right now. We just lost like 120 people. So just like that. They just, bam. They're like, okay, I will. Spoon is at the beginning of this row. I love Spoon. I love Girls Can Tell. You know, a lot of people like some of their more recent stuff, but I think that Girls Can Tell and Kill the Moonlight are 2 really excellent albums. Then, of course, everything by Squeeze. I just love Squeeze. Although, strangely, I don't love the song Cool for Cats. I don't like that song really at all, but I love this CD. This is a great album. If I had to pick a favorite Squeeze album, it would be Argy Bargy. If you're not familiar with Squeeze, they're a UK band from... They start off in the 70s, and they're really Beatles-influenced, and they just write amazing songs. East Side Story is another truly great album by them that came right after Argy Bargy. But I like all their stuff. Well, I say I like all their stuff. Actually, their last album, their very last album, was not so good. I think it was Domino. It's not so good. So I got a bunch of Squeeze stuff, and including some live stuff there, and got some Squirrel Nut Zippers, got some... Well, Chris Squire. I got Chris Squire's solo album because I'm a big Yes fan, which we'll get to shortly. For those of you who said, you better have some Yes. Oh, I got Yes. And I've got Chris Squire's solo album, Fish Out of Water, which is a Japanese disc, which makes it even sexier. Steely Dan. Steely Dan's one of my favorite bands of all time, and actually most of their stuff is in the in box set form, so it's not here. I have box sets away in a closet. But I love Steely Dan. Can't Buy a Thrill, their first album, is actually still one of my favorites, but I also really love Pretzel Logic, and pretty much everything they did in the 70s was amazing. I love that they came back and recorded a couple of new albums, but they're not that great. The new albums are not that great. Sorry, Steely Dan fans, if you like those two new albums. Oh, and here's a really unusual thing that they released. They released a CD called Piano Jazz, and a lot of Steely Dan fans don't even know this CD exists. But if you're a Steely Dan fan, pick up Piano Jazz. It's really, really good. It's them on a radio show. I think it's an NPR show with Marion McPartland, and it's just really good stuff. Then we're on to, well, there's the Stereophonics. I actually really love this album by the Stereophonics. Just Enough Education to Perform, I think is what it's called. This is a beautiful album. The Stereophonics, another really great UK band. Most of their stuff's really rockin'. This is their acoustic album, and I love it. And then we're on to Cat Stevens, and I have everything by Cat Stevens. He's another one of my absolute favorite singer-songwriters. As you can tell, I love singer-songwriters. This is my James Taylor shirt, or one of 3 James Taylor shirts that I own, because as you're going to see when we get down to this row, he's my favorite. These are Cat Stevens' 2 most famous albums. T for the Tillerman and Teaser and the Firecat, and they're the most famous ones for a reason. It's because they're perfect, absolutely perfect records. They're just great. And I was lucky enough to actually see Cat Stevens perform in LA last year, because he stopped recording for years, for over 20 years, or I don't know how long. He stopped performing for longer than he ever actually did perform, and he converted to Islam or something like that, and then he just was gone. You just didn't hear anything from him. And then he decided to come back and record a couple of new albums, and they're actually really good albums. But he also toured a couple of small shows, and amazingly I got in and got to see him with my buddy Dave, and that was an unbelievable, unforgettable experience. Speaking of singer-songwriters, there's a guy from Texas that a lot of people don't know. His name is B.W. Stevenson. It's about as close as I get to country. There's a few exceptions of my no country rule, but he's just a singer-songwriter, but definitely leans toward country. But he was great. He was actually really, really good. Early 70s stuff. He drank himself to death. He's a tragic alcoholic story, which is unfortunate. Let's see. Then I've got an LA band that I absolutely love. I cannot recommend this band to you more highly. The Sugarplastic. Bang the Earth is Round is a perfect album. This is a band that I heard of for the first time because they're apparently they have a lot of similarities with XTC. So if you like XTC, you might really enjoy the Sugarplastic. But they are also, I would say, heavily influenced by the Beatles and Brian Eno, Talking Heads, and all kinds of stuff like that. But I love this band. I love Bang the Earth is Round, and these 2 albums are great also. Radio Jejune and Resin. Really, really great stuff. I cannot recommend them more highly. And they're one of these bands that most people haven't heard of, so you can just go over to Amazon and pick them up used, probably really, really cheap. Great stuff. Here's another band nobody's really ever heard of, Sun 60. They released a few albums, but I really like their first album. Maybe, I don't know, were they from Texas? I don't know where they're from. Anyway, good stuff. Matthew Sweet. I love a little classic Matthew Sweet. Girlfriend. You ask how I can get so many, how I have so many CDs if I spend a fortune on them. You know, a lot of them are little promotional copies. You notice on the back of them, a lot of them have holes punched out of them and things like that. I get a lot of them used and cheap, and I've had some radio station connections over the years, so I've actually gotten a lot of them for free. But yeah, of course I have bought an awful lot of them as well. And then I mentioned Talking Heads. These are my two favorite Talking Heads albums, especially their first album, the one on top, Talking Heads 77. That's just great stuff. I love Talking Heads, and I really kind of love everything by them. But they're one of those bands that to me started off just perfect, like a really raw, amazing band, and then as they got more complicated and they went into like their Fear of Music stage, I still like them, but I enjoy that stuff less. And that's when they started to get really popular, when they had Once in a Lifetime. Ben Taylor is James Taylor's son, and he is terrific. He's actually really good, Ben Taylor, and he sounds a lot like his dad, so if you're a James Taylor fan, I recommend you check out Ben Taylor. And then, James Taylor starts here, and he goes from here all the way through here, because there's an awful lot of live discs and stuff by him that I have. But I love James Taylor. There's something about James Taylor's voice that just makes me really happy. And his voice he's helped me through a lot of hard times, and I think that a lot of people have that sort of reaction to his stuff. He writes beautiful songs, he sings them really well. I just love James Taylor. And if you're a James Taylor fan, you should know that his very first album, which was released on the Beatles' Apple label, in fact, the Beatles play on this album, or I think maybe 2 or 3 of them do at least. This album is about to be remastered and re-released, I think, next week. I'll put the link in the description, because they're releasing it with 4 unreleased demo tracks, and I'm really excited about that. So 4 unreleased demos there. And then another one of my favorite albums of his, 1972's album One Man Dog, is also going to be released. It was just remastered by Steve Hoffman, who's, you may know about Steve Hoffman. He's a mastering guru, and he just took a stab at this, and it's coming out on one of those 24 karat gold discs. It's like $25 for a CD, but it will sound better than this album has sounded since 1972 in its original vinyl pressing. I love James Taylor. I could talk about James Taylor, like make a whole separate video on him, but I won't. I will recommend one more James Taylor album to you, and you may have this one also, but this is his album JT. This is the super audio version of it, which I don't know why I have it, but I have it. I love the album JT. That's great. But honestly, he's one of those guys you could buy any of his albums, and there are going to be great songs on it. James Taylor, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and this is his latest album of original songs, which now was, God, when did this come out? 2002? So he's overdue for another new album of original songs. But October Road, it ranks up there with some of the best stuff he's ever done. It's just amazing. The guy he's old, and he just keeps going. And if you're as big of a James Taylor fan as I do, then you will probably have his sister's music, Kate Taylor, who strangely looks a lot like James Taylor but with longer hair. It's a little, in this picture, it's a little freaky. And their brother Livingston Taylor, who I've met a couple times and is a super nice guy. I have all of his stuff, and his really early stuff is great. I guess this is his second album. I really like this one a lot. But he kind of sounds like James Taylor with a cold. And Livingston, if you're watching this video, I apologize, but you do kind of sound like James Taylor with a cold. It's not a bad thing. You just have a little cold. That's all. But I like him enough to have bought all of his albums. I have all of his CDs. This is all Livingston Taylor. And Sally Taylor, his James' daughter. Yeah, I got the whole Taylor family. Because why not? You pick a favorite, you got to go with it. Have you noticed I'm kind of a completist? What do you think, Jeannie? Have you noticed that? Yeah, she's nodding.
I mean, you have an entire row of James Taylor. So.
I do. And then it ends about here with Tears for Fears. Tears for Fears, I'm sure you know them. A lot of great fun stuff from the 80s. Susan Tedeschi, Wait for Me. Wow, that's a great album. If you're into kind of acoustic blues, and not even acoustic, she's just great. Maybe I should have this with my jazz and blues stuff, but Susan Tedeschi, she's awesome. Here's an album from the 80s that completely holds up. 10,000 Maniacs, In My Tribe. Have you ever heard this? No? Really good stuff. And produced by Peter Asher, who was James Taylor's original producer. Yeah, I said producer. Yes, I have Tenacious D. No, I don't listen to it. A little bit of soul for you with Joe Tex. I do enjoy Joe Tex. He was not one of the more popular soul singers, but he made some great songs, and I really do dig him. His stuff from the 60s. Then we're on to They Might Be Giants, another one of my all-time favorite bands. I absolutely love They Might Be Giants, and their stuff starts here and goes all the way to here. They're great. My favorite album of theirs is probably Flood, which is signed by them, because I met them and they signed it for me. Also, Apollo 18 is a really great album. I love They Might Be Giants. I actually submitted several songs to this. This is a tribute disc called We Might Be Giants 2. I think I submitted 3 songs and they chose 2 that went on this CD. In fact, they're still up on a hidden page on mediocrefilms.com, so I'm going to put that link for you in the description, so you can, if you want to hear my cover versions of They Might Be Giants. Also, John Linnell of They Might Be Giants made this great CD called State Songs, in which he sings songs about the 50 states. And I've always thought that he's going to follow it up with another volume, because there's only like 16 tracks on here. So he's got 34 more states to go. I can do math. And then Monopuff is John Flansburgh's band. He's also in They Might Be Giants. So they each had their own separate bands. Richard Thompson is also another singer-songwriter I absolutely love. Rumor and Sigh is one of my very favorite albums of his. But he used to be in Fairport Convention, and he recorded some stuff with his wife at the time, Linda Thompson. Richard and Linda Thompson recorded a lot of stuff together. And they made some really beautiful stuff together. My favorite album of theirs is probably Shoot Out the Lights. But yeah, they're great. And but they divorced, and they don't record together anymore, strangely, after they divorced. This is their son, Teddy Thompson, who is also great. There's so much good music in the world. Okay, before I said I don't like rap, and I don't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, rap fans. I really don't like rap. My buddy Matt Sloan of Blame Society Pictures, Blame Society Films, made me a rap compilation 2-CD set, and I've tried it. I listened to it. There's a couple songs I kind of enjoyed, but overall, I kind of agree with George Harrison. Here comes the flaming. He said, "It's just talking." That's just kind of how I feel. It's just talking. I prefer singing. I like to sing along with music. I like to harmonize. It's hot in here. I feel warm. Do I look all red?
Not really.
No, I'm okay. Anyway, this is one of the few rap albums I have, because it's a guy in LA who called himself 1,000 Clowns, and this album actually was never released. It's an album called Freelance Bubblehead, and this is just a promotional, an early advanced CD of it. I heard... God, is this it? No, that's something else. I heard an advance disc of 2 songs, and I just really enjoyed his style, and that's, I think, might be one of the only rap CDs I have. I have a little bit of Eminem. I have 2 Eminem albums in my iTunes. And he's very talented, don't get me wrong. I just don't ever want to listen to him. I got some Three Dog Night, because that's some great classic stuff from the 60s, 70s. The Thrills! Wow, here's an album I forgot about. I have to listen to this again. Okay, so the Thrills are a band from, you may have to help me out here, Ireland, Scotland, I'm not sure. They're from somewhere over there, I think. But they were really influenced by the Beach Boys, so they came out to California and they recorded this album, which I think is their first album. It's called So Much for the City, and it is just an amazing record. This is so good. And yeah, I said record. I know it's not a record. It's a CD. But yeah, you should totally get The Thrills, So Much for the City. That is a really, really good album. I have other stuff by them too, but I just really like that the best. Then I got some Glenn Tilbrook. He's the lead singer of Squeeze. I got some Timbuk 3 because I'm from Texas, and in the 80s Timbuk 3 were really cool and fun. Toad the Wet Sprocket, Torch Song, some more 80s stuff. Pete Townsend. I'm a huge fan of The Who, which we're about to get to. And Pete Townsend, you know, was just, boy, he was the best. You know, his stuff, let's see, Empty Glass and All the Best Cowboys Have Chinese Eyes are just both truly great albums. Yeah, and so good I have 2 versions of Empty Glass. I don't know why, but I do. And White City is another album of his that I really liked a lot. Yep, that's all Pete Townsend. Now we're back over here. More Pete Townsend. Here are, somebody asked me, you better have some Traveling Wilburys. Oh yeah, this is all of the Traveling Wilburys albums on this several CD box set. Really good stuff. The Traveling Wilburys were a band with George Harrison, Tom Petty, Roy Orbison, Jeff Lynne, and Bob Dylan. And it's just really, really fun music from the 80s. Really fun stuff. Always enjoy the Traveling Wilburys. Boy, now it's going to get hard to see a lot of this stuff because it's on the floor. Travis Trio, which is that's a little bit of country. That's actually a band. It's a group with Dolly Parton, Linda Ronstadt, and Emmylou Harris. Trio. Trip Shakespeare. Have any of you heard of Trip Shakespeare? This, actually, Lulu's good, but Across the Universe is better. This is a Trip Shakespeare album called Across the Universe, and Too Glary. Is that better?
Yeah.
Is that worse? Better?
Right there.
I don't know how to describe Trip Shakespeare, but their lead singer, whose name eludes me for the moment, released some solo stuff recently, and he is amazing, and Trip Shakespeare was amazing. I just love this band. I also love Uncle Tupelo, the band that sort of became... Shit. I can't remember. Buddy, do you remember? Do you remember the name of the band that Uncle Tupelo became? I put you on the spot. I'm sorry. I put him on the spot. Now he's embarrassed. All right, I had to look it up because it was driving me crazy. Jay Farrar left Uncle Tupelo to go and form Sunvolt, and Jeff Tweedy went and formed Wilco. All amazing bands, but Uncle Tupelo was they were the early, really rockin' band. And actually Anodyne was more on the lines of Sunvolt and Tweedy. This is their more acoustic sort of sound, but I love Uncle Tupelo, and I saw them in concert in Austin, and man, they were great. They were great. Uncle Walt's band. There's a nice little folk band that nobody's ever heard of. Uncle Walt's band. That's some fun stuff. I got some Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. You know, I did a movie with Frankie Valli back in the late 80s or early 90s, I guess, called Modern Love. I had a little part with Frankie Valli. That was fun. I have a picture that I took with him where we're in front of a sign for the Four Seasons Hotel. It's a little irony for you. I have a bunch of Stevie Ray Vaughan in my iTunes. This is actually, I have the Vaughan Brothers on CD. You know, some great Texas blues. And I actually just really enjoy the Vaughan Brothers album a lot. Got some Suzanne Vega. I still really love her very first album. She was nice. She was sweet. Let's see. You got some Velvet Underground. I dig the Velvet Underground. Oh, Mike Viola. Okay, so Mike Viola, if you guys don't know, he was in a band called the Candy Butchers. Let's see, that's his Just Before Dark album. The Candy Butchers were a really, really fun band. Hang On Mike is a great CD. You could probably pick it up super cheap. He really perfectly crafted pop tunes, like power pop tunes. He was great. He also is probably best known for writing a lot of the music for the movie That Thing You Do and singing the lead vocal on that song.
I love that movie.
Do you love that movie?
I've seen that movie like at least 30 times.
Do you like the music?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. It's a really good movie. The Violent Femmes. I've always loved the Violent Femmes, especially their first album and their second album, and not that much stuff after that. But wow, the Violent Femmes' first album. This is just, if you don't know them, you might as well pick them up just for the history of it. What is this weird thing that I have down here? Oh, that's the Virgins. That's an early EP by the Virgins. That's a cool little indie band. Although honestly, they were really good on this EP before they started working with a budget. If you like Vampire Weekend, I would recommend the Virgins' first EP.
Yeah, they're like a little more like fun, I guess, than Vampire Weekend.
Yeah, but then once they got a budget, I don't really care for the sound of their music. Their first EP though is so good. A little Rufus Wainwright, and then lots of Tom Waits. And Tom Waits, boy, starting with I don't know if this is his first album or not, but Closing Time. This is, You know, early Tom Waits, he actually used to sing, which is a weird thing to say about someone you love, but he used to have kind of a smoother voice when he was younger. And then it just kind of hardened and got really gravelly later, and then he started releasing stuff like Rain Dogs and Heart Attack at Vine, and you know, his stuff is so gritty and so raw. It's amazing stuff. I love Tom Waits. Pretty much everything by Tom Waits I could recommend. Here's an album that I think a lot of people got tired of, but I still really like it. The first album by the Wallflowers. That's Jacob Dylan, Bob Dylan's son. And I like Jacob Dylan's solo albums too. He's released a couple, I believe. And they're really good. I got some Joe Walsh. I got some War, The Best of War. What else? Some Gillian Welch. Is it Gillian or Jillian? I don't know. She's a folk singer. Then we're on to The Who. And The Who, honestly, bands don't get better than The Who. This is the deluxe edition of My Generation. I love everything by The Who. The Who Sell Out. And how can you not love an album with that cover? Seriously. And this is another reason why I just love CDs and albums, because you know, you can hold something physically in your hand and you can flip through the booklet and read the lyrics and look at the pretty pictures. And I don't know, I love having something, you know, having that tactile experience. Really everything by them, and I still have a soft spot for Odds and Sods, which is a collection of, you know, unreleased songs to that time. Tommy is of course great, and Quadrophenia, and it's, you know, honestly, it's all great. No, I didn't even mention Who's Next. I don't need to. You all know Who's Next. It's a perfect rock and roll album, and that's all you can say about it. It's perfect. Okay, and also I really like their later stuff. Not a lot of people listen to this album, I think, that much, The Who by Numbers, but that's great! The Who by Numbers is awesome! I love it. If you're a James Taylor fan and you don't know David Wilcox, you should totally pick up David Wilcox. He is a singer-songwriter right along the same lines. Very pretty voice and nice acoustic stuff, and writes good songs, and I just really dig David Wilcox, and this guy's released an awful lot of albums, and you can kind of start anywhere, and they're all good. Well, we're finally getting closer to the end. Here's Brian Wilson's version of Smile, which it's really cool that he just finally completed the Smile project years later on his own with a band of very, very talented people. Oh, Dan Wilson. That is the name of the lead singer of Trip Shakespeare. And this is a double live CD you can buy directly from his website. And it's great. It is great. I recommend that very, very highly. And also his solo album, which I only have in iTunes, is great. A little Jackie Wilson, a little more soul. My heart is crying, crying. He had a weird kind of high voice like that, which I just really enjoyed. Did you enjoy that when I sang that? No, you didn't, you liar. Wisely. Another great power pop singer-songwriter. Love Wisely. Oh, okay. Here's some fantastic stuff. Bill Withers, which you probably know from the song Lean on Me in the early 70s. This is not the original cover to his album, Still Bill, but it's, I think, the first time they released it on CD. Still Bill's an amazing album, and it has, you may know the song Use Me. He did a song called Use Me. And Grandma's Hands and Ain't No Sunshine, and he just had an amazing voice. And one of the things I love about Bill Withers is this guy didn't start his musical career, I believe, until he was in his 40s. But when he started, he already had this amazing weathered voice, and he just wrote and sang great songs. I love Bill Withers, and his live album, Live at Carnegie Hall, is one of the best live albums I've ever heard. Lots of Stevie Wonder. I love Stevie Wonder. Fulfilling This First Finale might be my favorite of his albums. Let's see, there's a band called Wood. Then there's Hawksley Workman. Is this Hawksley? I have a lot of stuff by Hawksley Workman. I really like this album, Between the Beautifuls. And what is this? Oh, this is For Him and the Girls. I just really enjoy Hawksley Workman. He's another kind of a gritty singer-songwriter guy from Canada, and I'd kind of compare him to Van Morrison. He's just a really talented, really seriously talented songwriter. Not for everybody. His stuff's sometimes a little hard to take, maybe not as accessible, but just he's so talented. World Party, another great band, which was kind of one guy or maybe two guys from the 80s. I love this album. This is called Goodbye Jumbo. It's just one of those albums from the 80s that completely holds up. It's just great. Just like, Was Not Was is another band from the 80s that I think their stuff holds up a lot. Then on to XTC. I've already gone over XTC in a separate video, so we don't need to talk about XTC, except that you need to get them if you don't have them. And then Yes. And all of my Yes stuff, I have just some stuff here, but all my Yes stuff is really in my iTunes. But I have everything by Yes, from their first album, which is an amazing album, through, I really like their 70s stuff. After, say, Close to the Edge, I start to lose interest a little bit, but their early stuff, the Yes album, one's called The Yes Album, perfect, amazing. Neil Young, you know, you either love him or you hate him. I happen to love him. What do you think? Do you love him or hate him? Or do you not know him?
I don't really listen to Neil Young.
He's got a voice that a lot of people don't care for, I think, but he's just an amazing singer-songwriter, and I love After the Gold Rush and Harvest probably the best. You know, honestly, pretty much everything he released in the 70s was great. And plenty of stuff after that, like Harvest Moon back in the 90s. Sleeps with Angels, I think, came out in the 90s. Great stuff. You know, you asked if I had some Frank Zappa. That's all I've got. I've got a best of Frank Zappa. But a lot of you are Zappa fans. That's what I have. I have Strictly Commercial, the best of Frank Zappa. I also have a Mothers of Invention album on vinyl, Weasels Ripped My Flesh, which I think is actually kind of funny. And then I have Warren Zevon, and I actually have all the Warren Zevon stuff in my iTunes, but this is his very last album, isn't it? The Wind. Yeah, The Wind. He was phenomenal, and I didn't really start listening to him until after he died. It's like, really, what's the big deal about Warren Zevon? Well, the big deal is he was an unbelievable songwriter, and wrote heart-wrenching songs. And he ended up dying of cancer. Like, while he was recording this album, he was dying, and you can almost hear it in his voice. It's kind of like those last few Johnny Cash albums. He's just like saying goodbye. It's very touching stuff. The Zombies, great 60s band. What's last, you wonder? Well, it's ZZ Top. And this is the last ZZ Top album that I actually like. Everything after this, maybe a little of El Loco I liked, but everything after this, not so much. But their very first album, which is called ZZ Top's first album, is actually my favorite of theirs. Just really great Texas blues stuff. Well, for the 5 people who are left watching this after 30 minutes, or however long this video is, I congratulate you. You made it to the end. Thanks for watching, and hope that you picked up some good stuff, and let me know what else I'm missing and what else I need to check out. And you guys are awesome for watching. I really think there's like 5 people left watching. Jeannie's not even watching. She's sleeping behind the camera right now. Wake up! Okay, now she's awake.